What is up, traders? Jim here, owner and founder of Big Pips Only. This is this week's weekly market breakdown from Sunday, May 16th to Friday, May 21st. Getting straight into it. Okay, again, thank you all for being patient with bringing these back. Okay, enough people in my Discord channel have continuously asked for these, so we are bringing these back to YouTube and to the people. So again, those of you who are new, Big Pips Only. It is not just it's not just a chat. It's not just an academy. It's more of a movement. Okay, we want to help traders. Even if you don't have the money to get into our academy, we want everyone to have an equal opportunity because trading is not competitive. Okay, we can all work together, right? And our goal is not to beat each other. It's to beat the market makers. All right, so getting straight in, those of you who are new, who have never seen the breakdowns before, we like to start it off with the DXY. Okay, a lot of the things I trade are going to be USD pairs. I'm based in the US, Central Standard Time. My main session is going to be the New York session. So you're going to see me trade a lot of things that have to do with USD. So a lot of major pairs. I do trade cross pairs as well, a lot of cryptocurrencies. So starting it out with the DXY. As we can see, okay, I am a position trader, right? I like to trade over long periods of time. So if we look here, right, again, those of you all know my opinion on the dollar. As they continue to print money, it's only going to continue to go down in value. We can see, when we originally shorted, when it pulled back May of 2020, when we shorted around $100, okay, we can see, where it's at now. It's down at 90. So I believe, again, we are going to have to break this very, very important, the 88.75 level. But if it continues, right, we could see it continue to roll. So we will just go and continue here, right, and take a look at what the market has given us. So this is going to be our weekly chart, right? We had our nice pullback. It came right back. It actually is going to push a little bit above and come back to the previous level, the 93.75 level. Almost pushes all the way back into it. Okay, but really my main level of interest shorting this down here was this 92.50 up to 92.75 level. Okay, you can see price runs right back above it. We got the pin bar. Okay, we got the confirmation, and then it's a lot easier. And again, we were able to get those short positions in. Again, this is a weekly. So you can see we've had 1, 2, 3, we had 3 very, very aggressive weeks at the beginning of April here. Okay, so the week of the 5th, the week of the 12th, and the 19th, we had some very aggressive bearish candles that pushed us all the way from 93, 93.4, all the way down to 90.85. So, the market is only going to move so far one way for so long. So we do get a bullish week that week. It pushes us back into that 91 level. Okay, that 91.25 level, where we then retest, right? We had some support over here, right? It broke it. It needs to retest, right, as resistance, and it does. And we clear off the level. We push down right into our next lowest BPO level, right, the 90 level. We push up, and we're closing back down now into that level. And again, if you scale down, you can see it on a daily chart. We had, like I said, you had this support here. Okay, it was a previous support. It had run up, come all the way back, right, with support. It broke, was used as resistance, immediately clears back above. Okay, comes back down to test down here, right? And then it breaks, okay? It comes, retest, and it comes back again, and this time it holds the level, it pulls back, clears the level, holds support now, right, and then continues to rally higher into these higher levels here. Okay, so it was support, it broke again, right, and retested as resistance, and it continues down. So what we expect now, okay, and what we do need to anticipate, okay, you've got to be mindful. Again, the overall bias is bearish. So that is going to be what we're going to focus on, but you always need to see both sides of the picture, because as a trader, okay, the main thing that you need to focus on is if you're wrong, you're wrong. Okay, if I'm wrong, guess what? I lose a little bit of money, I sleep on it, and I come back tomorrow. I don't let it eat at me, right? I came to a realization. I teach all my students this. When you're trading the market, the one most important thing you need to realize is the market is never wrong. So if you get stopped out or you lose money or you over leverage, it's not the market's fault. That's going to be your fault. Okay, that's your fault. The market is never wrong. So again, it's best to look at both sides, because again, if you understand the market and you understand where price is at, you know the key levels that it trades from, it's going to be a lot easier, because if you are wrong, you can just switch your bias up, or if you understand both sides of the equation, okay, you may, again, it may be beneficial to you. So you can see over here that at this level, this 90 level, we had a lot of movement here. Okay, we've had a lot of movement at this level. So this is gonna be, this is gonna be a very important probably week or possibly even 2 weeks if we somewhat fall into a range between these levels. It could be a very, very important, month or two even. So it depends on what price decides to do. So what I am personally going to do is I'm going to give you the bias as the market shows it. Okay, that is what my initial pre-weekly bias will be, and then I will also give you the other scenario that something that could possibly occur. Okay, so what I will be focused on with the DXY in particular, right, because I use it to trade my currency pairs, is going to be the daily, the 4 hour, those types of candle closes, okay? So knowing what we know now, right, previously over here, this was used as a support. It came, closed right below it, didn't come to the next level, immediately closes right back in, finds support, rallies up, comes back, wicks low, closes up, right? And that's why it's important to worry about closes, because if you're on a smaller time frame, you may be shorting over here, but when you come look at the higher time frame and you see this big wick here on a daily and it closing back in the level, it may be ready to continue up. So focus on those types of things. So here, right, you can see, our biases are playing out very, very nicely. So we would like to see this continue down, okay, with everything that's going on. So like to see it continue down, and when it breaks below the level here, okay, so when it breaks below 89.75 and we get a close below the level, we will know that it's no longer holding support there. Okay, so we need candle closes below this level, and then upon a retest, you could get a nice short position down. Again, first targeting whatever that new low would be, because what could happen, it could come down there, double bottom, and then immediately start coming back above that level. Stuff like that can happen. Okay, and you'd also have a relative equal low over here. So I mean, it could happen. But that will be the initial bias. We will look to short DXY. So that's going to mean, okay, anything USD XXX we'll expect to sell going into next week. Okay, with the shorting of a DXY, that also means anything XXX USD you're going to expect to buy or go long on. Okay, so USD XXX, that'd be, if DXY is shorting, you would want to sell USD CAD, you would want to sell USD JPY, you would want to sell USD CHF. Okay, XXX USD buys or longs, you're going to want to buy EU, you're going to want to buy GU, you're going to want to buy AU, you're going to want to buy INU. Okay, again, do your own analysis and make sure the biases, make sure they're all lining up, and view how the DXY pushes these things, right? Look up the correlations with them, do your research. But anyway, that's what we'll be looking at. So again, we would like to see it continue down, clear these shorter term lows here, 89.98, 89.99. Break 90, again, close below the level. We get a retest. I may, I don't really, I position trade DXY. I'm not intraday trading it, so I won't stack again. But if you intraday trade or whatever DXY, you could stack maybe a short off of $90. But what could also happen, right? It was a previous support here. So what could happen is we could push back down in here and we could double bottom, right? And then once we had the break of this neckline here, I'd wait for a pullback and then I would buy up. I may even wait to be even more valid to see a break above 191.5 and push higher and then pull back to 191.5, retest it again, and then buy that way. Okay. What we could also see, we could see price rally down here. Okay, and it could break these lows and it could close below, and then maybe we get a pin bar or maybe we get a doji and then a confirmation candle of price closing back in the level. Okay, and then I would probably, wait for a pullback again, and maybe wait for a smaller structure to break and get in. Or if I have a good enough confirmation and say, it wicks and then I get a huge engulfing that closes back above, that's enough confirmation to just, when the pullback occurs, I'll most likely get in. I may not have to wait for a smaller time frame break to snag that entry. So overall, again, with what the market is telling us now, we may see a day or two of bullish activity at the beginning of the week on USD CAD to try to maybe even fake some people out, and then it continues. So again, just be patient. There's 5 days this week. You don't need to trade each and every one, and just snag the best moves, because it's not about making the most money. It's about money management. Okay, so again, DXY, that was the DXY. If that is going to short, we're most likely going to consider gold longs to continue. I'd like to see them continue up to at least, 1875. Maybe even up to 1900, and then we may start to look for, potential shorts down to continue to buy up. But overall, our biases are playing out very, very nicely. Our sniper entries, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful positions. Okay, as you can see, if you click the replay here, we can see how we got in. Okay, we had that daily move there. And again, I'm trading very, very simple things. Y'all, Academy members, I'm trading one of 6 patterns. Okay, you can see I got in on this candle right here. One of these 2 candles right here. You can see, you can look at the entry, right? Waiting for, like I said, confirmation candles, waiting for a pullback, and then getting in off of one of those six patterns that we talk about. So very, very nice move, playing out very, very well, right? We wanted to see it clear that, continue, rally up. We've had a few positions. We took a short-term short over here to rally back into the longs over here. And as you can see, short-term relative equal highs, getting into the next daily level, that 1850 level. We'll see how it reacts there. So what I'd probably like to see, and again, going to depend on DXY and stuff, but see it at least come up to here, maybe pull back right here, and we may get a continuation up like that. But in all honesty, it's gonna depend on what DXY does. We could also see a rollover this week to probably try to fake some people out. Institutions may try to pull back and then rally up. So we'll see what happens. Focus on all of the time frames put together. But right now, nothing is going to say sell gold at this point in time. 4-hour daily, nothing like that. So we're going to go ahead and continue to long the DXY. Presently, the first setup that I would possibly look at, okay, we want to clear these highs first, so you don't want to just hop in. You want to wait for these highs to clear, okay, create new highs, and then, you know, we'll look for something probably like this. This would be the first sort of gold setup I would look at. Again, if you're on your smaller time frame, intraday, maybe a scalper, you may be able to catch the counter trend shorts down. You know, optimistically, we want to see it to come between 18.18 and 18.14, so maybe 18.12 and a half, even, okay, so, because that pushes up to the 18.15, right, so maybe we short, or we look to buy off of 18.15 as a limit this week. It would fill this candle as well. Yeah, maybe 18.15, somewhere around there, 18.15, 18.18. If it comes down there, I may look to long it. But you can optimistically, you know, when price starts to reverse on the 15, the 1 hour on gold, you can get a nice little counter trend move. So, you know, focus your efforts on that. You know, pay attention to see what DXY does as well. So that is going to be gold, but that would be the first probable setup I would look for on gold, like I said. And if we do take out these lows here, I would say we'll probably see a more major pullback, probably back into the 1700s. Like we could possibly bleed out. So we will be mindful of that going into next week as well. Gbp Usd, okay, our buys off of 137 are doing very, very nicely, okay, just as expected. Again, same patterns, right? We got re-entries in around 138 and 140, and again, you know, had these smaller moves last week as well, where you could have gotten in. So optimistically, you know, we're gonna expect it. If we hold 140, okay, we did. Let's do something a little crazy, right? I mean, of course, we want to see it continue. We want to see it take out 142.5. We do want to see it take out, you know, 143.75. But if we come on here, okay, you know, we can see relative. The institutions have met their targets. If we see it push back up here to these highs right here, and I get, you know, like an engulfing or something off, we may short down a little further for a pullback, right? But we will ultimately continue with our long bias here until we get something more definitive short. But we could see, you know, maybe even a little bit deeper of a pullback. But if we are going to break below the 138 level, that's something I would be more prevalent on. But you know, really, you know me, structure. If it holds, you hold. So realistically, you know, you could see something like this occur this coming week, you know, depending on what the institutions choose to do, around 140, 141.25. So again, you know, we'll mark those up for those of you who need the visual. 141. So we'll see what the institutions do around these levels here. Okay, and as you can see, you know, they could even throw it into a range for a while. So again, always something to be mindful of. But what we would like to see, again, you know, with DXY shorting, I would like to see price rally back above here, close above, you know, midweek, maybe pull back. Really, if it could pull all the way back here and I can get confirmation, that would be my favorite. Not always going to do that. So if we do get a nice break above, even a retest here, confirmation, I may buy there. But again, we will see if also, you know, DXY maybe pushes down and, like I said, bounces off of that 90 level, right? Maybe this pushes up and then starts to reject here. And then what I would do okay, I would scale down, and then I would wait for the confirmation on like a 4 hour or 1 hour, right? Wait for those confirmations and then get in on a retest of that specific time frame. So, you know, maybe on a 15-minute or a 5-minute, you may be short here. But again, the overall bias, we are going to be long, so I will hold that long bias. But intraday there, you know, you did have nice little short on the 12th. You could have got in on. You might still be short bias if you're intraday trading. Again, GBP, JPY, very similar story. Okay, overall higher time frame, we cleared the highs and we are running into those targets now. So, looking at a weekly, we're approaching these two key weekly levels, 153.75 and the 155 level. So again, similar story. We're gonna see how DXY reacts and stuff. This doesn't have as big of a correlation, but it is correlated to GBP USD. So that they're similar, but USD news isn't going to affect GBP JPY. You know what I'm saying? So, but we would really like to see most likely a very similar story there. Okay, as you can see, we had price push up, pull back, rally. We were able to get in on an impulse here. Stops are already break even, made our money, took our partials, so it's not a big deal. But again, you know, it could close, retest the level, and then rally out, or we could see price close into this level, you know, maybe even break this low here, and then on a retest, we would short it down, you know, waiting for a more major pullback, you know, maybe to 152.5. I'd like that, maybe, right? Pretty much clears it, right? It was a previous, you know, resistance here, and it pretty much just cleared it, and it never really retested that support. So may want to, you know, if it comes into 152.5, that's my first real area of interest on GBP JPY. So yeah. And then again, you know, coming over USD CAD here, okay? Again, eerily similar. Same time frame on our entry setups as DXY, right? If we look at the monthly, right, even looks similar to the DXY, right, with that double top pattern. So, just looking at it, right, we had this key level in the market. We tested multiple times, and on like the 5th daily test of it, we were finally ready to go. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're finally ready to go. Off of that key weekly level, right? It was a previous support. Price bounce, comes below, but as the week, right, it closes back above. So it comes down and closes back above that same week. Okay, so previous support now being tested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks worth of resistance, finally dumps off. Okay, so again, what we'd like to see, you know, we were also able to catch these counter trend trades here. So again, you know, DXY is going to tell us what's going to happen first. But what we could see, okay, we did have this pattern, you know, not uncommon for a pullback here. What we could see, and again, the Monday London session into New York is going to be the most important for me. It's going to be the real deciding factor moving forward in the week, as you all know. But what could happen is if we come back up into this level, we could bounce off of this level and then continue up in our pullback. You know, our bias, we are still looking to short, but I'd probably like to see it come back up 123.75 or 125 before we try to short. So we could see that occur. Okay, so that is something to be mindful of. Like that could happen. So if we come back up, close within the level, and hold this level, our counter trend from last week, our counter trend trade, will probably continue, and we'll get a nice pullback. And again, gonna depend on what the DXY does. So if not, right, we are getting this nice little counter trend. we did sort of get this 1 hour half bat here, and again we broke back below the level. We're retesting and coming to close back below. So if we do hold below this level, okay, what we'll probably do is, again, you know, our bias holding it into 120 will most likely occur. Now once we reach 120, we've got to focus on, well, what is 120, right? Again, 120 was a major area before, okay? So it's something that we need to be mindful of, right? Moving forward, there's been a lot of price that has moved through here, okay? So when we get there, we could see a bounce and then the official, you know, counter trend to buy back up to short back down. It could start then around 120. So depending on how the DXY moves and how we close on DXY, and also how we're going to close this 121.25 level, because what could happen, it could even, market could gap up here, okay, when it opens. So we will be focused on how they react at the current levels, and we will move forward. Okay, and again, similar story again, you know, with the DXY. If it is selling, you're gonna be buying everything that's opposed to it. So on a daily chart, right, we are clearly in an uptrend. We had a nice, very, very nice counter trend all the way down to 117.5. Okay, and that is where we finally, right, we got our entry pattern. We were able to enter in around that 117.5 level and ride it all the way up. Okay, nice little counter trend moves over here to retest and buy back off of this level, right? Because it created support, came back, retested it, found support again, continues up. So what we really wanted to see last week, okay, we wanted to see, and it was this analysis created off this daily chart after this, after we had this nice little pin bar. I wanted to see it push all the way back down into 120 again, and then come up, right, take this out, and then start coming up into this level, take this level out, and possibly rally all the way back up towards 123. What happened though? Again, your analysis can be right, your bias can be right, but the market is never wrong. The market wanted to go where it wanted to go. You know, if I look at some candles and you mitigate some risk and you look at these different things, you can figure out why it went where it did. You know, I could mark up a zone right now and show you why the Academy students may see it, on why we may have wanted to trade off of this level here. But again, personally, me, I don't like trading in a no man's land. So for me, any space between my levels, I really don't like to trade if price isn't on, in, or around one of my levels that I teach to my BPO students. Okay, because you can see how price respects these levels very, very well. Okay, so I like to take trades that I'm taking in, off, or out of them, right? Because as you can see, how often price trades through them, very, very accurate, right? And if I can stack that confluence on with maybe a fib, maybe, you know, all these other things, maybe a pattern, maybe price action strategy or something, it becomes that much more powerful of a move. So as you can see, price, it does pull back again to the 38 here, okay, and then goes and continues up. I mean, what could also be happening, price, again, if the DXY chooses to buy, price could be rallying here to just do this. So we'll be focused on it, but as of right now, we'd really like to see price close above this level, you know, maybe even see it come straight into 122.5. I do expect a little bit of resistance there, okay, so maybe it comes down, comes to retest this level before attempting to possibly break, right, or reject that level. So we'll see. But overall, you know, as the DXY is giving us a short bias right now, that is what we'll be looking at. And again, you know, won't cover analysis for these pairs, but as you can see, right, they all hold very, very similar biases. Okay, market was in a big uptrend. We had a little counter trend for, you know, like a month or two, and then it went back with the present trend, right? And again, you've got GU that does that. went into a counter trend, we went back with the trend. GBP JPY, we went into a counter trend, and we went right back with the trend. USD CAD, because DXY is selling, we went into a counter trend and then went right back with the trend. Okay? Euro USD, DXY is selling, right? When it was buying, it went into a counter trend. And then when it went back to its overall bias, it starts to buy again with GU, with AU, with NU, right? Those XXX USD pairs, when the DXY sells, they all buy. So if we look at the daily on all of these, buy, 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 and buy. Okay? Let's look at the DXY. Sell. USD XXX. Sell. Sell. Okay? Sell bias. Didn't pop a sell on it, but I don't really trade UJ. It moves too slow for me personally. Okay? So as you can see, like, keep it simple. Focus on the levels that the market is at. You know, you don't need a million levels marked up. You know, where price is right now. Okay? As you can see, I have the 2 levels right above it. Maybe I mark up, you know, the 142.50 level as well, and maybe the 138.75, because that's probably the 4 levels that price will trade between for that next week. Okay? So again, we could see price boom, boom, and then rally into that next highest level, or we could see price go boom, boom, you know, boom, boom. Or it could, you know, immediately huge engulfing here, retest that, and do something like that. So focus on the price action. Price action is king, okay, or queen, okay. Focus on the higher time frames for the bias, okay, because the higher the time frame, the bigger the move is going to be. And especially for new traders, if you're a new trader, it's very, very important to understand that higher time frame bias and how to trade those higher time frames. Okay, those moves that you generate on the higher time frame are much more likely to play out. Now, I know a lot of traders who trade on a 5-minute or a 1-minute and are very, very successful. I'm not saying that you can't not be successful, but those charts move a lot faster. It takes a lot more. You have to sit there and be present on a chart. I can place a trade, okay, April 13th. This trade is still open on May 14th, so it's been a month. Okay, I may hold this for 2 or 3 more weeks until it comes up to this level, unless it starts to reject. So I have a lot more time freedom. So it depends on who you want to be and how you want to be as a trader. Again, that is going to be the weekly market breakdown for this week. A little bit longer than usual, you know, explaining things maybe a little bit more in depth for a couple new traders. But thank you for your time. Have a very wonderful trading week, and I'll see you all on next week's breakdown.